A bombshell is dropped, showing that certain Aquaman starlet has been destroyed by their own so-called evidence. That's right. Why? Because they didn't know there was body cam footage out there. They decided they would input 5 pictures to tell their tale, and the 5 pictures, they don't go along with anything at all. Now, you and I, we're going to look at this definitively. We are going to talk about what's here, and more importantly, what isn't, proving once and for all that it did not happen. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. So, hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. And quickly, before we get started, check out and back our projects. Crowdfunding right now on Indiegogo. 4 days remain out of our 30. This is our alternative to industry that does not respect you. Walk away from that. Walk towards something. Help us out. Thank you. Now, the first thing that we need to look at to ensure that you understand everything that transpires is the police body cam footage. Now, this is a second set of police officers that have arrived. I've skipped 48 seconds into this. I'm not providing sound because I want you just to see exactly what goes on. Now, pay particularly close attention to the carpet here. Do you see any staining there? Do you see any places where the doors have been damaged? Nope. Well, interestingly enough, you're supposed to be able to see that. You're supposed to see where JD had taken a magnum-sized bottle of wine. He had gone through the hallways. He had hit doors, so the doors should be damaged. He sloshed wine everywhere. So you should see evidence of that on the floors. And more importantly, as this comes up, you'll notice somebody comes to the door. This will be Josh Drew. Notice what he's wearing on his feet. Slippers. He doesn't seem very concerned about glass, about damages inside. And we were told that there were extensive damages that were done inside. So he ends up talking to the police here. This is also very important too, because we're told that the police, they wanted to look through the entirety of these penthouses. They went through not one, but 2 of them. And also that they wanted to extensively talk to that certain Aquaman starlet. Well, if you notice, they're going to let you in just a second here. If you notice, they're not going to do any of that. In fact, when they walk in, first of all, you notice the lack of concern about any damages whatsoever. Notice the dogs. They're playing around here. There's nothing here on the floors whatsoever. You'll see down the entryway. You notice that candelabra at the top? That's important too. But the main damages that supposedly transpired, they supposedly transpired here on this island. They supposedly came from certain areas around as well. Yeah, you don't see any of that. Now, also telling is when the officers, they arrive, they don't know exactly who they're supposed to be talking to. There's 2 females on the couch. That would be Rocky Pennington and also that certain Aquaman starlet. If all of these things transpired, that they said transpired, wouldn't they know exactly who to talk to? I mean, there would be, after all, physical evidence of what went on. But you see the officers, they walk in, they decide, okay, everything's good to go. We're going to leave. So they leave within a couple of minutes. They're not walked through. None of that goes on. So that's the first thing that tells you there's a problem. Now, the way that the 3 co-conspirators try to deflect away from this is they say, well, this actually proves our narrative because we cleaned up between the first and the second set of officers. Quote, did you show them the entirety of Penthouse 3 when all the alleged destruction occurred? If memory serves, yes. But after the first officers came, we did clean up the broken glass off the floor. The dogs were there, and just for safety's sake. Now, in order to try to disprove the body cam footage, they've provided 5. Count them 5 pictures. If you notice the areas these pictures are taken from, number 1, you're not going to have any picture of the kitchen island whatsoever. Instead, you're going to have a picture right here away from it. You're going to have a picture of the floor, and then you're going to have 2 other pictures in here and 1 picture when you're leaving. Now, this first picture, it tells you all you need to know about the so-called proof. If you look at this, you'll notice there is a glass jar. The glass jar is not damaged in any way whatsoever. It was also seated by other other glass jars. And if you want proof that there was no damage done to that whatsoever, well, look no further than realtor photographs that were provided months after the fact in 2016, where you'll notice, amongst other items, those same glass jars prominently displayed. You can see the same utensils in the photographs, so you can tell these are the same items. Yeah, all of them, they were set back as if nothing at all had transpired. Now, moving on to the second photograph, you'll notice a few items strewn across the floor. And these, oh, they're very telling. Why? Because the basket that you see there, that is not a metal basket. There's definitive proof of that. I'll show you in just a second. That thing is made out of wicker. And when you look at the items that are all over the floor here, those, they have weight. You would think if somebody was swinging a magnum-sized bottle of wine around, they came in contact with a wicker basket. Number one, that would destroy the basket itself. Number two, it would damage the food or the fruit in there. You have avocados, you have bananas. Some of that would either be damaged by the hit or it would be damaged by contact with the floor. When you, number one, return to that realtor photograph, what do you notice prominently on display? That's right, same wicker basket. It is being reused for something else, but either this tells me that wicker is the strongest substance on earth, it can withstand a magnum-sized bottle of wine being swung like a baseball bat, hitting it, knocking it onto the floor where its own weight doesn't crush it, or, well, you draw your own conclusions. Also on display under this, you have the ghostly images of that body cam footage, and you'll notice there on the island fruit, the same fruit that was on the floor there. So you're going to tell me that someone would take a chance eating that fruit after glass was strewn everywhere, after it had made contact that way? No way. No way at all. Now, photograph 3 is fascinating, but not because of proof. Oh, no, but because of a case study on who is putting it together and what exactly they value. If you look at the floor, you'll have so-called spillage. I mean, look at that strewn about. And yet you'll notice, if you look at the cart right here in the corner, no wine made contact with it at all. I mean, that's pretty interesting, right? When you look at the carpet as well, if you examine the middle of it, you notice that it's bunched. That's because you have wine going right up to the edge, but where it looks like it's going to run over, you actually have had somebody pull the rug up. They've allowed the underpad to get wet, but they wouldn't allow the rug itself to get anything on it. That says a lot about the person taking the picture, right? Now, photograph 4, it is much of the same, showcasing so-called spillage. You know, again, somebody's running around with a magnum-sized bottle of wine. They're strewing it all over the place as they swing it. And yet, when you look at this, you have a little bit of spillage here on the floor, a little bit of spillage right here. You have some right at this item, but it doesn't get on it. You have a little bit more right here. It runs down on the floor. Again, easily cleaned up. No damage showcased to any item whatsoever. In fact, the only damage that you see within any of these pictures is right here. If you zoom in, I'm going to zoom this for you. Look at this. This is the base of a wine glass. So out of everything that was alleged, everything that you see, you have one wine glass base showcased here, plus what I'm going to say maybe is another piece of glass. Yeah, that's proof, supposedly, of a rampage that happened that took out a kitchen island, and yet, again, you have no pictures of that kitchen island whatsoever. And when you combine this with my video talking about Incident 14 metadata inconsistencies, talking about the arrival of the first set of officers, what you'll notice here is that everything in Incident 14, it's easily disproven, and everything, well, it falls apart. Now, like I was saying before, check out and back our project. It is crowdfunding right now on Indiegogo. We need your help. We have 4 days and change left on our 30. We send a loud message saying, hey, all these companies that denigrate you, this could have been yours. But no, when people walked away from you, they walked toward the alternative that we provided. Thank you, too, for being here. I appreciate the heck out of you. And until next time, well, let me know what you think and see you soon.